Hi, my name is Valerie, and today I'm going to discuss in a documentary format, aka kind of a solo podcast, which I will address one of the questions for my creative reflection, which would be how do my products engage with the audience and how would they be distributed as real media products? Throughout my whole film, there is modern common issues, which would be constant competition, as well as constant pressure, seeking validation from others versus being out of place, feeling alone, which starts to feel you're constantly targeted and everything. So these are common things that I have seen throughout my day-to-day basis as an isolated student who I am constantly, keep seeing multiple perspectives and everything. This is really great having first hand experience because this is what shows of what people are actually interested, which nowadays many modern teenagers are like constantly being glued to their social media phones, such as like the two apps being Instagram and TikTok, which are really great benefits in promoting my film. Since nowadays there are many filmmakers or animators that just post 1 or 2 minutes of their film, and there's a high chance people get instantly hooked in a few seconds. So in a way, if I were to start marketing this, I would obviously start with free strikingly good social medias, which would be TikTok and Instagram, so many people can have access to it. And if they're really willing to watch the whole film, then they could start paying for it, which would be over to Netflix. I feel like Netflix has all these creative visual languages that promote a lot of original filmmakers and creators, which creates, and it's super popular, which creates more persuasion and more higher chance to watch the film and everything. Basically, throughout the whole film that I have, it doesn't have any language to it, which this creates more engagement towards viewers, since there is no like Spanish language or English language throughout it, so many people can watch it globally. So the less dialogue you have, the more clear your story is. Also reduces the budget in spending for your film if you were to do it for a final film. So if I were to do this whole final film, I would obviously promote it to different countries, since there is not there's no app, like there's no like involvement of languages. Rather, it's heavily reliant on movements and on heavily based on designs as well. So it can have a clear language of social groups versus out of place students, which clearly addresses the issue on a modern day basis. Which leads me to my final claim, is that this is mainly aimed towards young audiences, since this is based off my own first eyewitnesses on what I constantly keep seeing throughout social media, as well as my day-to-day class passing, which would be like wild animals. They're constantly arguing, which represents modern students looking at social media, for example, constantly comparing their bodies or constantly feeling of who's better versus who's not, or bringing others down, which causes these like hunting, which it makes me to create a reference of wild animals, like hunting for validation or hunting for greater like dominance. Whereas the social loneliness group is obviously being targeted, since more social media tends to also have a negative impact of this, of constantly shaming others for feeling like being really creative or being misunderstood sometimes, which this is a great way to promote it on social media, as well as Netflix, since they offer more of that creativity, as well as being a modern issue that isn't really discussed as much, which is really crucial for this idea. So this is the end of my commentary. Overall, to summarize, this is based off young teens, heavily globally promoted free since there's no language requirement, as well as there's visual creative references with symbolism, which many people tend to really like to decipher what was the idea of the authors. So this is a really great chance to promote it through YouTube, Netflix, as well as other social media that many modern young teens use, which I will use to my benefit for this film.